Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your AEW All Out 2022 preview and predictions. Folks, we've got 15 fucking matches to preview today. We've got 4 0-hour matches, which is like the pre show or the buy in or whatever the hell they're deciding to call it these days. It's called 0 hour right now. And 11 main show matches to predict here that we're going to be reacting to tomorrow. So, John, how are you feeling about All Out 2022?
Oh man, it's interesting, man, because we previewed Clash at the Castle last night and we reacted to it earlier today. The select matches that we agreed on reacting to. We're obviously going to react to the whole show here, which is insane because, like you said, that's 15 matches. Because we even thought that the 0 hour card, as we'll call it, looked pretty decent. Well, really just one match. That's Ishii versus Kingston. AEW has quite a bit of good going for it. I don't want to make it seem like it's trash or a dumpster fire. It has some glaring problems, as we've talked about, mainly the women and stuff like that. And I'm sure we'll have a good bit to say about the women. But when I look at this card as a whole and where I'm emotionally invested, the number that keeps coming in my gut is an 8.5. So I'm going to be a bit conservative and I'm going to go with just the 8. So I'm going to say that my hype is an 8 out of 10 for this.
I'm also at an 8 out of 10 for this.
Yeah, because the way I see it, I'm really excited for the ladder match, just because, the winner gets a world title shot, and I'd love for that to be Andrade, although we'll get to our actual predictions at that appropriate time. I don't know how long that's going to take. I like Swerve and Our Glory, and I love the Acclaimed. It should just be a fun tag match for the titles. Danielson Jericho, I think, has had a great story revolving around, just wrestler versus sports entertainer and all that stuff, and Daniel Garcia. Cargill versus Athena has been really good. In fact, in some ways, I would even say the TBS Women's Championship has been booked better than the primary AEW Women's Championship. The four-way has my emotional investment because of Shida Hater. Hell, even Jungle Boy Christian. I've loved heel Christian. So even that has got my investment in some way. And then Moxley Punk, while it kind of took a nosedive for me a little bit with Punk stuff on the most recent Dynamite, I've been here for Moxley's whole reign. I think he's the best promo in the company. I like his intensity. I like his believability. I hope he squashes Punk again, though I don't see that happening. And even the tag tournament or the trios tournament finals, I do think it absolutely should have been Death Triangle House of Black. But it is interesting that we've got the Elite on one side and Dark Order with Adam Page, given that Press 10 is injured kayfabe and wasn't able to compete. So I think every match on this card more or less has something for me that I'm like, you know what? I fucks with this. And I think they've done pretty well with it, which is why it gets an 8 for me.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny that you just did all that because I was even sitting here looking at the card, just kind of going over it match by match and thinking to myself, if this was a WWE show, what would we skip? And there's literally nothing on the main show that I would want to skip.
No, I definitely want to be here for all of it just because I just feel like so much is going to happen on this show. But I also do want to say as a caveat, because I just imagine that this might be a more discussion-heavy preview predictions potential. I could be wrong about that. But that I'm trying to rein in my expectations for what I think might happen and trying to keep it as grounded as possible.
Yeah.
Because there are certain matches where I just want to let the horse fly with the cart, so to speak. But I'm trying to keep everything grounded. So with that said, what match do you want to talk about first?
Well, I will say, before we do get into talking about the individual matches, I did emphasize main show because I would absolutely be willing to skip Hook versus Angelo Parker and the mixed tag match for the AAA World Mixed Tag Team titles on the 0 hour. I'd be fine to skip those. Like, those do nothing for me. I shouldn't say they do nothing for me because I do love Hook and I do love Ruby Soho. But that's it. Out of the 6 people combined competing in those 2 matches, I like 2 of them.
Yeah. No, I definitely co-sign your math there.
So it is. We're probably going to end up reacting to them regardless. But if we were treating this like a WWE show where we would skip matches, at the very least, I would definitely want to skip the mixed tag match.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But that being said, let's get into this. And since we just said that we were going to skip, or we would skip that if it was worth it, but it's probably not. Let's just talk about the mixed tag match. Is there any chance here that you think Ruby and Ortiz win the AAA mixed tag titles?
No, absolutely not. I
I
think this is
fully agree. Yeah,
yeah,
hard
yeah.
agree. Easy peasy, ready to go. Lock it in. And let's talk about our next match, which we might as well just keep going in the order of importance. Hook defending the FTW Championship against Angelo Parker.
Hook, I think, has definitely got it. I know Angelo Parker is JAS, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, no, I really don't understand why Parker is even getting the shot. It makes no sense to me. But yeah, Hook should honestly win in like 3 minutes tops. Pac versus Kip Sabian for the AEW All Atlantic Championship.
Pac, please just get the win and get out. I mean, I am a bit tentative about this one, honestly, but I think Pac's going to pull it out.
Dude, honestly, all I keep feeling is that AEW All Atlantic Championship, and specifically Pac as its champion, deserves better challengers. What the fuck are they doing with that title? What is the point of that title other than for Pac to defend it against random UK shitters?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I don't understand what the hell's going on because Pac has been on one, especially as part of Death Triangle, and this is what you give him on a fucking pre-show.
Yeah, like
I
don't get
just
me
feel like there's a
wrong,
lot wrong with
I
it.
like Shota Umino, but it's still like this dude is effectively still a young lion. He has not graduated from his excursion yet. And he took Pac almost 19 minutes to beat in Rev Pro. And Pac's other two titles are against relative no names in LJ Cleary from OTT and Connor Mills from Rev Pro. And now you have him defending against Kip Sabian, who's not a no name relative to Connor Mills and LJ Cleary, and arguably even Shota Umino, because he has been in AEW since pretty much the beginning. But he's still like, he hasn't been around for how long now?
Yeah. Ugh.
I just
I
feel
don't
like
know, man.
Pac as the All Atlantic champion and really that title as well just deserves better challengers at the end of the day. Like, this is a title that was originally contended for by Malachi Black and Miro, and who was supposed to be Tomohiro Ishii. And now it's being defended against shitters like Connor Mills and LJ Cleary. What the fuck?
Yeah, you really should have kept the energy in like title reigns that you did for its inauguration, for
Yeah.
sure.
I do hope that Pac retains, and I really hope that he gets an actual good challenger soon. And the thing is, Kip Sabian's a good wrestler. I'm sure all those guys are good wrestlers. When I say shitters, in this context, I don't mean guys who can't go in the ring. I mean guys who don't mean anything to the title at all.
Exactly.
And in that context, with that definition, I would say Kip Sabian is damn near a shitter.
Oh, dude, without a doubt. Absolutely. Like,
So, because
I
I
don't
like Kip.
really
I
see what
think
brings
Kip's a good wrestler. I enjoyed his early work. Remember that one show? I think it was like Fighter Fest. It was the first one where it was still a pay per view, or Fight for the Fallen, where he was in a match and some asshole in the crowd was yelling at him and he kissed him.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, like Kip Sabian's done some cool shit in the past, but like they did a terrible job of building to this match. And literally the way that they built to this match cost Death Triangle the spot in the finals of the trios tournament, which pisses me off too.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Like
Again, should have been House
that
of Black
doesn't
versus
make
Death
me
Triangle.
want to see Kip Sabian get his ass kicked or see Pat get revenge on him. That makes me angry at Tony Khan for using Kip Sabian as a device to justify his stupid booking bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think we both agree that the Pac retains. So let's talk about Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston.
Not gonna overthink this one either. I just think Eddie Kingston wins. It'd be cool if Ishii got a win because I don't know what that would mean for him and like the New Japan AEW collaboration. The only, and I hate to even bring this up, the only way I could see Ishii winning is just because of all the internal stuff we've been hearing about AEW lately, about people arguing and stuff, and we know that the Kingston had the spat with Sammy that was pretty like open and public.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Tony would want to like punish him further for that by having him lose on the pre-show when this guy, excuse me, when this guy before his barbed wire match with Jericho, they were saying he had like a 7 or 8 match win streak. So that could be the only reason I would see Ishii winning is just because of inside baseball shit. Yeah. But just looking at it from a pure wrestling standpoint, which I'm trying to do, I'll go with Kingston for the win here. I don't want to start overthinking shit, especially on a fucking pre-show. So what do you think?
Yeah, I will say Ishii beat him in New Japan Strong, so I think Kingston gets his win back in his sort of home turf on AEW, you know?
There you go. Yeah, definitely agree.
So then we can get to our next match, which was we're done with our 0-hour matches, our pre-show matches. So let's get into our actual main show. And I think the first match that we can talk about on this main show is going to be, let's say, House of Black versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro.
Yeah, man, this is definitely a very interesting matchup. I really don't know what to think because you had Darby interrupt Miro's promo, and I do like Miro's promo style. I like the whole character of the Redeemer, but he was almost trying to sow dissension in the House of Black, saying that Brody and Buddy don't need Malachi. Malachi needs them, which I hated because I feel like House of Black hasn't even achieved their full potential as a unit. Again, I wanted to see them in the finals of the Trios tournament. I'd love to see Malachi feuding for the world title. And then, Sting's got his whole character, and Sting does good stuff. So I could see the babyfaces winning this, especially because the driving story here is Miro got misted by Malachi, and he's wanted revenge ever since. However, I hate the idea of Malachi and House of Black as a whole losing, especially, again, because they lost in the tournament to the fucking Dark Order.
Yeah.
I think to a roll-up, no less. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I think out of spite, I want to give House of Black the win here. And yeah, I think I'll actually lock that in. I think, I don't know who would eat the pin. Maybe it would be Darby. For some reason, I just don't see, Sting eating the pin. So I'm going to go House of Black. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, honestly, pretty much same. House of Black are just way not hot enough, just not nearly hot enough for what they should be. Like, this is a badass team with 3 amazing overall performers in it. Malachi can do everything. Matthews can do everything. Brody King can do everything except maybe talk. I don't know. I haven't really heard him cut that many promos. But he provides the size that the other 2 guys maybe lack a little bit. I don't understand. And here's the thing, too. Like, we keep hearing rumors of Malachi Black wanting out of AEW so he can go back to Triple H in WWE. I don't know if I even believe that, man. Like, shit, man. I really don't know. Part of me is like, oh, I wouldn't be able to blame him if he did want out because nobody has ever booked him stronger than Triple H did. And I feel the same way about Andrade, too. But at the same time, like, I don't know. It just feels like more of the same, doesn't it? Like, you go back to WWE, they're not going to have you beat Roman. They're not going to, like, you're not going to be on that main event level like you were in NXT. I don't know. I just feel like his best bet really is to just stick with it in AEW and hope that Tony decides, like, oh, you know who I haven't done enough with is Malachi Black, and, just has that decision come up in his head. God, this is the problem, though, with wrestling companies run by one dude, like it's the same problem as Vince. It's just different guys.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer or anything, but us like having this conversation, it really makes me think. Like, I don't want Malachi to go down in history as that guy that just no company ever really got.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he could be that guy for just anybody if they just would commit. And I really thought AEW would commit. I mean, keep in mind, dude, like, in case anybody forgot, this was a guy that debuted taking Cody the fuck out and then squashing him a little while later.
Yeah, you're right, by the way. You are right about that. I was thinking, though, imagine what we could have had if Malachi or Alistair or Tommy End or whatever you want to call him would have gotten swooped up by Lucha Underground for Season 4 instead of Jake fucking Strong.
See, now if Lucha Underground had to end, which I would prefer that it didn't, but we don't live in that universe, like, I could have been proud that fucking, we'll even go with his AEW name, just keep it consistent, Malachi Black was the last Lucha Underground champion. Because
Yeah.
he would have fit that aesthetic perfectly.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it would have been completely believable too if he would have been a god.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I am Death Destroyer of Worlds, Malachi fucking Black, baby. Like,
I will
yeah,
eat your soul.
still amazing. Uh, yeah, it really, as a Malachi fan, and that's where this is coming from. It comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of fandom. I do worry for Malachi's career. Look, if the man's getting paid, I doubt he gives a shit about anything else. But if there is a part of him that's like, this isn't just my money work. I want my money work and my art to be the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not really able to create his art as much as he should be able to. And that's a shame because I think he has so much to give. To be quite honest, I wish he was in the Casino ladder match. I don't know who I would replace because I admittedly like the field. I don't even know who the Joker is, but I would have loved Malachi to be in that spot. I want him to be bumping shoulders with world champions, and we're still fucking dealing with Darby and his fucking edgy ass. It's annoying. So I'm sorry, man. Just to circle back around and make it clear, I am picking House of Black. Who are you picking to win?
I'm also picking House of Black, but it's more wishful thinking than anything.
Fair enough. All right, what match you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage next.
How about you go first on this one? Because I already know what I want to say about this. I want to get your thoughts on this one first.
I mean, yeah, I really don't like this feud anymore. Christian Cage, I feel like, was playing a really, really good heel. He did a really good job of getting people to like Jungle Boy and hate him, and he was so good when it was just him being a heel. He did so much for Jungle Boy in those weeks. And then Jungle Boy came back and, in my mind, ruined it for himself. Jungle Boy, since returning, has not been likable at all to me. He's just given off complete and utter little shit energy. And while I'm going to be rooting for Christian Cage this whole match, I do fully expect Jungle Boy to win.
Okay. I mostly agree. I want to navigate this. Accordingly because I do agree with you 100% on the first half of that. That Christian, I think, and this is me being totally unironic. I'm not going to turn up yet, but I do really think Christian has been amazing, amazing as this heel. I mean, never forget he told Jungle Boy's mother, "Your son's going to be eating birthday cake through a straw. You raised a piece of shit." And it was amazing. Like no arguments given. No. I think he's been terrific. And then Jungle Boy comes in with almost like the toxic masculinity talking points. Oh, you couldn't satisfy your wife. You couldn't do that. And it's like, really? You're coming in here with this beta bitch ass third grade bullshit? Okay. So Christian absolutely to me has been carrying this feud, which is a shame because to me, Jungle Boy has the stature and he has the in-ring work to be a really successful babyface. Like if I'm going to be even-handed and actually give commentary, that is where I see Jungle Boy on a very real level. But man, did he out himself as not being able to talk. And that is a huge hindrance to him. Like you got to understand for me, bro, if I'm really putting it in clear terms for everybody and you included, Jungle Boy in the context of this feud, he started out ideally in my mind as a future main event prospect. I mean, even the company had other people refer to him in promos as a pillar, as an AEW fucking pillar. After this program, I'm thinking maybe your best is mid-card for life. Maybe TNT title run here and there, but that's it. And that's his fault. Because if you can't talk, you're not going to get a lot of mileage. That was Danielson. More than Danielson's size and more than his wrestling ability, his promos are what made the Yes movement so successful. If he could not talk, nobody gives a fucking shit how good your German suplex is. Nobody gives a shit how devastating your Busaiku knee looks. Nobody, in my opinion. And if there are, they're very niche people. But you had mainstream appeal because you resonated with people on the fucking mic. I thought Jungle Boy could have been one of those guys. But this was weak sauce fucking work. Now, as for the winner of this match, now that I've kind of made my comments about Jungle Boy more generally clear, yeah, I definitely think Christian's going to win here to start. I don't think Jungle Boy is going to get the win right away. I do wonder if Luchasaurus is going to have a role in this I don't think we've seen him in the last little bit ever since he in kayfabe attacked that one official and got suspended. So I think he could have a hand in the finish, and he might inadvertently. I don't think he's going to actually turn heel on Jungle Boy because they could have just doubled down if they wanted to do that. But he might inadvertently cost Jungle Boy the match, and Christian capitalizes. So I'll go with Christian for the win here. I don't think Jungle Boy's going to get his.
You're probably going to end up being right on this one. I just feel like Tony Khan really I just feel like he bungled this feud so badly. And maybe it's not even him. Maybe it really is just Jungle Boy because, we already know that AEW is a lot more fast and loose with their promos. Maybe what Jungle Boy was saying was literally just him talking rather than someone telling him what to say and him saying it in his own words. But yeah, I fully agree with you about the flaws of Jungle Boy. I really, really wanted him to be able to come back and cut some fire babyface promos. But like you said, he literally just came back and spouted patriarchal bullshit.
Dude, he didn't even have to say that much either. Like, not to cut you off, I apologize, but I just want to emphasize he didn't even have to say much either. He literally could have just gotten a mic and said, "You want to talk shit about my father? Come out here, let's settle," and slam the mic down. Like, he really just could have been feeding off that fire. I would have been satisfied, but he really just had to go and try and humor Christian.
AEW could have handled it better. AEW as a company, I mean, literally, dude. Let's think about this for more than a half of a second. Lucha Underground went an entire season and a half with the face of their company not saying a single fucking word. You don't have to have a top babyface talk that much. Jungle Boy didn't have to say a word. Jungle Boy could have literally spent like 2 or 3 weeks just attacking and beating the shit out of Christian while Christian was trying to get words in and trying to talk and trying to do his promo segments. And like, maybe the only words that he says are like, "You talk shit about my father, this is what you get." Like, you don't need to have him cut these long-winded promos, and you especially don't need to have him as the baby face go out of his way to emasculate Christian. That's something that Christian should be trying to do to him.
Exactly.
So yeah,
100%.
I'm glad that we are on the same page here, and I'm not surprised that we are on the same page here either. So yeah, I'm still going to pick Jungle Boy because I feel like Tony's already bungled this enough that it wouldn't surprise him if he bungled it even further by having the babyface win in their first try. But you're probably right. Christian might win. We'll see. Next up, though, let's talk about Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I've enjoyed the feud. Could have done without the Factory's involvement. But I just think Hobbs wins here. I almost feel like Hobbs needs to win here. Starks is a newly minted babyface. I think he should kind of struggle a little bit. And especially when you look at Hobbs, I'm sorry, I can't believe Ricky beating him straight away. I would like to see Hobbs go on a little bit of a tear. And ultimately, what I would like to build Hobbs up to is being a future challenger for Wardlow in the TNT Championship. So I'm going to go with Hobbs for the win here. Just in the first match.
Another reason that I am agreeing with you that I'm also picking Hobbs to win, part of the build-up to this match was Hobbs being pissed at Ricky Starks for effectively communicating the idea that he was okay with losing.
Yeah.
So we're going into a match where one guy is okay with losing and the other guy's pissed off at that guy for being okay with losing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the guy that's not okay with losing is probably going to beat the guy who is okay with losing.
Yeah, you'd think, right?
So yeah, also going to pick Hobbs. Next match, let's see. Let's get into what should we do next? Danielson Jericho. That's an easy call. That's the only match left that doesn't have any kind of championship implications, I believe. Oh wait, no. I want to back up. Okay. Danielson Jericho is important because it also could potentially mean Daniel Garcia might be, his fate kind of feels like it's in the air there. Here's a match that legitimately doesn't have any stakes as far as I know. Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and MCMG.
God, on paper it seems so obvious that Wardlow and FTR are going to take it, but I am torn on this one. Because the thing is, like, Lethal and the Machine Guns, and really I just want to focus on Lethal. He wants another shot at the TNT Championship, and I don't think he's gotten it yet, given that you and I actually do keep up with the AEW product. More so, say, than WWE with Raw and SmackDown. So I think we would have known if he would have gotten it again. I don't remember that rematch happening. So I almost want to say that Jay Lethal and MCMG win just to kind of like put Wardlow against the wall a little bit and be like, oh, he is getting that rematch. But I think I'd have them win by Motor City Machine Guns, maybe like Shelley or Sabin pinning one of the FTR guys.
Yeah.
So you have Lethal's team win, which gives him momentum, but the emphasis is more on the tag teams, which FTR's whole thing is like, we want to be the greatest tag team. So now the Guns are kind of standing in their way of that legacy. I know, Dom. I know. Believe me, you're really capturing the mood there. I think the same thing. 15-match card is insane. So I'm going to go with Jay Lethal and the Guns, personally. Yeah. I'm curious where you fall on this.
Oh, no, I fully agree with you. And another big reason for me is FTR also have all these tag titles. MCMG would be a great candidate to win the, at least ROH, I would say, tag titles.
I agree completely with you there. 100%.
So, MCMG pick up a win over FTR, leads to Lethal getting his rematch against Wardlow for the TNT title, and then MCMG probably beat FTR for, I'm guessing, the ROH World titles, maybe, or the tag titles, maybe even on the next ROH pay-per-view, which I don't know when that is.
Yeah, that seems all good to me, man.
All right, so let's get into Danielson Jericho.
Yeah, from where I sit, I feel like Jericho and Garcia, there's been a lot of tension lately. A few weeks ago, it was like Garcia shoved Jericho when he was telling him, leave me alone. And then most recently on the Dynamite that we reacted to, takes the chair away from Jericho when he wants to beat Bryan with it, and then Bryan gets the Busaiku. So Bryan really seems to be benefiting right now overall from the tension between Garcia and Jericho, which is exactly why I'm going to pick Jericho to win here, because I do think Garcia will get involved. And I don't think it'll be malicious, because I think he'll still be in conflict and in turmoil, except Bryan's going to be on the receiving end of it for once and not Jericho. And Garcia's going to feel all guilty about it and frustrated, but he's just going to walk off. Jericho's going to pick the scraps and he's going to win. This isn't just because of last Dynamite. Again, I feel like this has been a general trend since this match was made, and it is a very fresh matchup. And Bryan feels like he's got the upper hand in the war for Garcia's soul. So I think the scales need to be tipped back a bit. So I'll go with Jericho for the win. And I'm curious if our streak of agreeing continues or if you're picking Danielson.
No, I am going to agree with you here. I also think Jericho wins, but I think despite Jericho winning, I think the way he wins will be what tips the scales in Danielson's favor for the heart of Daniel Garcia.
Interesting. I like that.
I think Jericho is going to win in like a cheaty, shitty, carny way. And Garcia is going to see that and be disappointed in him and check on Danielson after the match or something. And maybe we'll get like a Jericho codebreaker to Garcia afterwards.
Or like a Judas effect or some shit. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yep.
All right. Next.
All right. I believe that is all of our non-title matches. Well, it's not technically all of our non-title matches, but it is the last of our matches with no stakes, with nothing on the line. So let's get to our one match that isn't a title match, but does have something on the line: the Casino Ladder match. Claudio Castagnoli.
I am so psyched for this.
Yes, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Penta El Oscuro, Rey Fenix, Rush, Andrade El Idolo, Dante Martin, and a Joker. And the winner...
I'm on level with everybody. Oh, yes, continue, sorry.
The winner receives a future AEW World Championship match, is all I wanted to add.
Yes, I just want to level with everybody and say that this match might be one of my most anticipated on this whole card. I'm really excited for this ladder match. This is a stacked fucking field. I love that Yuta's getting this rub. I hope to see Moriarty in one of these ladder matches someday. Because, God, I really want a Wheeler Yuta Lee Moriarty feud. Claudio has been great as ROH World Champion. Penta's always been good, and we can thank Lucha Underground for really getting his career off the ground. Phoenix was made for a match like this, and he might be the most inspiring luchador working today. Rush is cool. Andrade's a fucking king. Literally, no offense to him, Dante Martin's the weakest one in here, not knowing who the Joker is, and even he can do insane stuff. So for the match concept, he's perfect for it, because he'll do some insane aerial shit. This is a stacked fucking field. Not knowing who the Joker is, I want Andrade to win so bad. But before I pick a winner, I just wanted to get your feelings on this match and who you're pulling for the hardest.
So from a selfish want to win standpoint, for me, my top three in order are number one, Andrade, number two, Ray Phoenix, and number three, Brian Cage being the Joker.
Interesting.
But from a more objective standpoint, I'm thinking about this sort of sort of from like a heuristic standpoint, everything being connected kind of thing.
Yeah.
And holistic maybe is a better word for it, a holistic perspective. I think though, to me, if it's not the Joker, which it could very easily be the Joker, I don't want to pretend like it can't be the Joker. The Joker might even be the odds-on favorite to win. But as far as the guys that we know are in this match, it comes down to two that are very likely to be the winners here.
Okay, and those two in your mind?
Andrade El Idolo and Claudio Castagnoli.
Okay. I would agree with this, ultimately. Oddly enough, I would say third for most likely might even be Phoenix for me.
No,
but
I disagree. I don't think Phoenix is super likely to win, and that is for one reason and one reason only. I don't think that either guy that could walk out of this show with the world title would want to work with him one on one.
Yeah.
I think he's too reckless, and that's why I don't think Roosh is going to win. That's why I don't think Dante Martin's going to win. That's why I don't think Penta's going to win, but also Penta has shit psychology. I'm thinking of it as who would the guys that are going to walk out of this show with the world title, who would one or two of them want to work with? And to me, that comes down to Claudio and or Andrade. Roosh is like a distant third, but I do think he's the third most likely out of the guys whose names we know.
All the same, I do agree with you on your top two, and that's what matters here. Because third place don't mean shit. And to be fair, second place doesn't either, but like hairs away from first, right? So I look at Claudio and Andrade of just the field that we know, because I honestly have no idea who the Joker could be. I'm not even going to begin to speculate. I've even heard some people say MJF. I'm going to say this right now. I want MJF to come back on the show. Between the two of us, I'm the huge MJF fan. I know Ashton does not give a fuck about MJF, but even I will say there's no way you do MJF's return here. Like I am not entertaining that. I'll be blunt and I'll say I think that's delusional. I don't think with the story that he's got around him, with how he left, he's just able to sneak into a fucking, I won't want to call it a random ladder match, but it is random in the context of how you left and you come back in this particular match. No way. No way. So I've seen some people speculating that. I like your idea of Cage. If Cage would win, I'd still prefer Andrade over him, but I wouldn't mind if Cage won. But yeah, I really don't know. Even if it was, look, if you guys want to know how hard I'm campaigning for Andrade to get something, even if it was Johnny Elite in this, I'd pick Andrade over him. Andrade's put his fucking time in this company. He's had some great fucking bangers with this company. Get him in there with Punk or Moxley. Whoever fucking wins the world title, we'll get to that match later. So it does come down to him and Claudio. Claudio's already the ROH World Champion, but like you said, him being in this match is kind of Tony Khan saying, like, yeah, he's ROH World Champion, but the AEW World title, that's what everybody wants to be. And so I do agree with you on that logic. I love Claudio to death. I'm happy with the run that he's having. He deserves it. Seems like a really swell guy, the kind of guy that I'd want in a locker room. But I'm tired of title unification shit, and I'm over it. I think it's a trend that, again, I even said this on a commentary a little while ago. It used to mean something when you were a double champion because it was so fucking rare. Like when Eddie did it, I thought it was the biggest fucking deal because it's like, man, he's a workhorse. The company has to know it because he's the U.S. champion and a tag champion at the same time. But I just feel like it's such an over-abused concept now for me that I don't care to see it. So I'm going to lock in Andrade, and I really, really, really fucking hope he wins because, man, he is so much better. No disrespect to Roosh. He is so much better than being in a tag team, and you all need to stop playing the fuck around. Like, this is a main event caliber talent, and you need to start treating him as such. If it's not Andrade, my runner-up pick would honestly be the Joker because I can't really see anybody else in this field except maybe Claudio, per your point, getting the title shot. But, yeah, to me, it's either Andrade or the Joker, and I'm just going to go with Andrade. So who are you locking in, brother?
Um, man, can I do like a dependent thing here? Like depending on who wins the world title, I pick a different guy.
Bro, it's our fucking channel and it's our fucking show. You do whatever the hell you want. If you feel like it's a different direction, regardless of who wins,
Yeah,
you do that, man. You
because
do
to
that.
me, if Moxley retains, it will be Andrade. Andrade is my pick if Moxley retains. But if Punk wins, I'm leaning Claudio.
That is interesting. That is interesting.
Well, because to me, if Moxley retains, why would he go against a faction mate in Claudio for the world title?
Bro, that's true.
Like that's something
Yeah.
that we really don't see in Western wrestling. That's more something that they do in Japan.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. So I guess if you're doing a dependent thing, do you want to wait and have us connect the dots about who you think is going to win? Because whoever you say will win the ladder match now, that kind of gives a hint of how you're thinking about the world title match.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that works.
yeah, we'll just wait and see who you pick for the world title match, and then we'll connect. Like, okay,
All right.
all right.
What would
Next
you
matchup then.
say, in your opinion? Actually, I already know the answer. Let's talk about the tournament finals for the inaugural AEW World Trios Championship.
I know we're going to disagree here. I'm actually pretty confident in that because I think you've already said that you disagree when I kind of floated this. I can't shake, dude, that Paige is going to fucking turn on Dark Order and rejoin the Elite on some bullshit.
Wow.
I really can't shake it. Now, let me be clear. Let me be clear. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm actually hoping I'm wrong on this because I love Paige as a babyface. Even when you and I weren't watching AEW, I would hear about how, like, they booked Paige, like he had anxiety or depression, like he was struggling with mental health about his place in AEW. And I love that because that to me is what like a 2020s kind of babyface in pro wrestling looks like. Like Rick and Morty, I think, had the best line. Like, when Summer told her mom, "We eat trauma for breakfast." That's this generation, and I think for Paige to kind of reflect that, I love that at the time. So I think Paige is a relatable babyface on a visceral level. He seems a bit adrift though since losing to Punk, and on the one hand, because I see it going one of two ways: either Dark Order wins and Paige pays them back for having his back when he was on his road to the world title, or the Elite wins and it's because Paige was the difference maker and he was like, man, fuck you guys, Omega and the Bucks, they're my friend, they're where I belong. And I don't know, with the Undisputed Elite being devastated, with Cole losing O'Reilly to neck fusion surgery, Fish is apparently gone, all that stuff, and already like excommunicating the Bucks, I still feel like AEW probably wants that premier like faction. And so, yeah, it just might be the Elite with Paige. So I'm going to go with Omega and the Bucks winning via Paige heel turn, and I hope I'm wrong. So now I'm going to put the ball in your court where you're coming down on this definitively.
Okay. I still disagree with you for sure. And I'm actually landing on the complete opposite side of this. I actually do think that Hangman and the Dark Order are going to win this match.
Okay.
I think they're going to win. I think
All
they're going to
right.
be trios champions because this is sort of Hangman's quote unquote relegation. This is Tony's way of cooling him down because he just had a really hot title run at the top. So we bring him down, we put him in this trio. Plus, I also really like the idea that Hangman and the Dark Order feel like a very beatable trio. So if we ever do get that big House of Black versus Death Triangle match in the context of winner gets the shot at the titles, I would expect the winning team to win those titles then
Yes.
against the likes of Hangman and the Dark Order. Whereas if it was against Kenny and the Bucks, I'd be like, maybe not.
Yes. Yeah. I can see why you'd say that.
So I think Hangman and the Bucks, or Hangman and Dark Order, I'm going to say Hangman and the Beaver Boys even, are actually going to win this. I don't think that they're going to win it like decisively. Like I don't think it's going to be like, oh, Hangman hits a big buckshot lariat, and then the Dark Order do a crazy tag team finisher, and then they play really good defense and get the 3 count on one of the Bucks or anything like that. I think it's probably going to be similar to the way that they beat Death Triangle with like a roll up or something like that, something quick and fluky, so that they can keep the sort of credibility and the heat on Omega and the Bucks. But I do think that inaugural titles in AEW, I feel like. Do you remember who the first ever TNT champion was?
First ever TNT champion? No, unfortunately, I do not.
I just looked it up not that long ago. It was Cody. So that pretty much goes with my theory here that most of the time, inaugural champions in AEW are babyfaces. Now I know the world title went on Jericho immediately, and he wasn't a babyface, but Riho was the inaugural women's champion. We just established that Cody was the inaugural TNT champion. I do feel like it's much more common in AEW for babyfaces to be the inaugural champion. So I am going to pick
Yeah.
Hangman in the Dark Order. Plus, I also feel like these guys feel like this would be a really good climax for them as characters and as a team because they really haven't gotten one. And if you think about it, Kenny and the Bucks are in a really weird place where they just reunited after basically a year of not being together. Kenny is in a weird relationship with Don Callis. The Bucks were borderline turning face before Kenny showed up. It's complicated and it's convoluted and it's very clearly messy. And I don't think you want to put championships on messy when there's so much to unravel there still. You know what I mean?
That's a fair point, man. I can understand where you're coming
I also
from.
just don't think they want to retread the same ground of Kenny and Hangman are cool now, but for how long kind of thing.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah,
So
a lot of history there.
yeah. So I'm gonna just pick Hangman and Beaver Boys to pick up the dub, and let's get into our next match, which will be the AEW Women's Interim Championship, World Championship. God, that's a mouthful. I'm gonna read it word, verbatim. The interim AEW Women's World Championship four-way match. Toni Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida. I know what we want to happen here, but I'm curious what you think is going to happen here.
Oh, Toni Storm.
So
that's it. Toni
yeah,
Storm.
well, who does she pin?
Probably Hayter.
I know it sucks so bad.
Did you enjoy hurting me just now like that? Was it fun? Was it fun
You're
for
the one that
everybody?
hurt me. You don't get to victim blame here. What do you mean?
You know what? Never mind. We're not doing this. I am not doing this on a fucking match with Britt Baker on it. That can go
I
fuck
will
itself
say,
right away.
I saw the tweet that you retweeted though, and just couldn't agree more from Lizzie at Lizzie X Lucha on Twitter. Drew losing sucks, but I still think the worst possible booking decision that could come out of this weekend is Britt Baker becoming champion tomorrow. Yeah, keep the fucking title away, please, pretty please.
I'm a douchebag on here, but I will gladly turn in that card and beg and be a pathetic little bitch if it meant kept keeping that title off Britt fucking Baker. I do not want to go through this shit again. Look, if we're being honest, people, because I'm gonna get my shit in on this fucking match. I played ball and I said what I think is gonna happen. Unfortunately, I do think Tony's gonna become champion. If there is justice in this goddamn world, Jamie would win, and hell, you can even make the argument that no, John, true justice would be going with the woman that actually knows how to use social media because we're in a social media age. And fucking Hikaru Shida cooked Britt Baker on Twitter. She cooked her ass. Like, probably multiple times that we don't even know about, but that one time that I'm thinking about, I still laugh about it when I think about it. And, like, yeah, fucking Shida or Hayter would be amazing picks. Toni Storm doesn't wow me, but anybody but Baker. Anybody but fucking Baker. But yeah, I'd love if Jamie got her time. I don't think it's going to be, though, because she's still seen as, like, Britt's second. And honestly, I think Shida may have, just from that standpoint, she may have a better shot at this than Jamie Hayter does. But ultimately, fucking Thunder Rosa, when she made her concession promo that she was going to be out, she said Toni Storm by name. She said, Tony, I hope you get to live your dreams. So yeah, it's totally going to fucking go to Tony, I feel like. And I hate it because I just love Jamie Hayter and Hikaru Shida so much more.
Dude, I want to do a little exercise here, actually. Do you mind?
Sure.
I want you to tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how excited you would be if each woman won the match, starting with Jamie.
10.
Wow. Okay. I'm at a 9 because I'd be scared that they would still want to make her subservient to Britt. Okay. Sheeta.
Honestly, she's been so fucking good lately. I'll give her an 8.5.
I was going to give her an 8, so we're actually very close there. Tony.
5.
Wow. I'm going to give her a 1 for me.
I only say 5 because I actually feel like AEW would give a shit and they'd treat her better than Rosa, and like, you know, at least the women's champion would be featured, and maybe other women would be elevated, but that's really straining it. Like, I understand that, but that's why she even gets as many points as she does, is that I know she'd be a women's champion that I think AEW would give a shit about.
Right.
So I just feel like Rosa got done so dirty in her run, but
yeah,
you know, that's another matter.
Okay, so you're on a 5. I'm on a 1 for her. And Baker.
Baker's absolutely my 1, and if we could do negative integers, we'd be fucking going.
Oh, you
man.
can.
I'm
You
not
can do
stopping
negative.
for gas.
I was gonna say -6 to be fair.
Negative 10. If 10's the maximum on the positive side, I'll go. I do not want to do it again. I don't want to do the fucking promos, and I don't want to do the OP bullshit. I'm fucking over it. So yeah, for her, -10. Absolutely. Fuck her.
I think Mark just might have doxed someone in the chat. He just said Baker would be a -578-8576 for him. I think that's a phone number for sure.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Oh man, but yeah, no, fuck Britt Baker. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, you're officially picking Tony as well.
Yes.
Oh God, I'd be so happy if they had Jamie pin Britt.
Oh, dude, that'd be cathartic. Wouldn't even begin to cover it, honestly.
Yeah.
So nice.
All right, let's get to our next title match, which will be our AEW. What's gonna be next? Let's see. Let's do our TBS Championship. Jade Cargill versus Athena. I really want Athena to win here, man. I really do.
I want to just begin before I even address that directly. Is it hyperbolic? I honestly don't care if it is because I genuinely believe it. But I guess I'll just ask the room if anyone feels it's hyperbolic to say that this is actually one of the better built matches on this card. I feel like they've done really well by Jade's title reign and by Athena's like a pain in her ass. I actually feel like this has been one of the more decently built feuds. What do you guys think?
That's actually a really
and
interesting
I mean, obviously you can answer more.
Observation, because I almost feel the exact opposite. I feel like this has gotten so little TV time.
I guess recently it has. I can concede that, but I think in the time when it was being emphasized, I did like the stuff that they were doing. You know, personally, I just think Jade's presentation is so good as champion. Like, I think she's got one of the best presentations in the company, just as an individual act. That said, to answer what you just said directly, I wouldn't mind Athena winning here at all. I'm a fan of hers. I feel like you and I were fans of hers even when people started turning on her in her WWE run, which is really, you know, kind of a shame because I think she's definitely a solid in-ring performer. Promos can be hit or miss, but I don't think she's terrible, but I don't think she's great either. I think she's right in that average tier for me for promos.
I think she's actually gotten a lot better on promos.
Interesting.
Yeah, like there was a time that I would have definitely agreed with you that she was pretty mid. But I think since coming to AEW, I do think that she's gotten better. I do think that she's improved. I saw a clip apparently last night on Rampage. They had a little sit-down thing with her and Jade, and I really enjoyed what she was saying and the way that she was, the passion that she showed while she was saying it. Let me put it that way.
I may have to check that out, man. I may have to check that out. Yeah, I think Jade's undefeated streak has been...
Yeah, she basically said that she is not only going to beat Jade for herself, but she's going to beat Jade for every woman in that locker room that's had to put up with her shit over the years.
Interesting. Because I guess ultimately where I fall with it, and this is what I was getting ready to say, but I didn't want to, I wanted you to finish your thought,
Right, and there's
is
a hell of a
I'm
delay on Facebook call right now, so
I can imagine. My internet's been shit all day. That's TDS, folks. I literally can't do anything about it. So yeah, I look at the streak. I think it's gone on long enough that like I wouldn't think it would be bad for Jade to lose to Athena here, especially because Athena is a genuinely credible competitor.
yeah.
I mean, not to put anybody on blast, but there is a world of difference between Athena and Anna Jay, right?
Dude,
So
right,
like
and that's even my
Athena
thing too,
ending the
is
streak.
like I always hate it when like things last a long time, like oh Undertaker's streak or Roman's title reign or anything like that, and people are like predicting them to lose every time that they have a match or defend the title or whatever. And it's like when they finally do lose, it's like, ah, I called it. It's like, no, fuck you. You've been calling this for 2 years. Fuck off. But like
Yeah.
we've literally been expecting Jade to hold on to this title the entire time. There was no point since we started reacting to AEW earlier this year, maybe even last year, whenever it was, that we've been like, oh, Jade's title might be, up for grabs here. We don't know. No, we've been confident every single time that Jade retaining. This is the first time that I'm a little shaky on. This is the first time that I'm like, maybe. This has been getting built since before Athena even signed the fucking contract to come here on Twitter. Like, maybe. I don't know. I'm a little up in the air on this.
See, I'm of two minds, and it's very interesting how these two minds are operating because they couldn't be any more opposite. On the one side, being grounded and keeping it within the realm of what we're discussing, which is the actual product of AEW. I think it would make sense for Athena to win because even if you didn't have a plan for Athena, I think the clear plan for Jade is to go after Toni Storm, since we both agree she's winning the women's title. I think Jade Toni is a feud that they would want to do, maybe not immediately, but close to immediately. And just get Jade in that division now since she kind of made the TBS championship. On the other hand, though, when I think about it on a more meta level and how we have talked about it, and we've talked about it very candidly, so I think it's only fair that I bring it up here, that Tony Khan does not give a shit about women's wrestling and that the women's division seems very, just unfocused and stuff like that. I don't know if they have a long-term plan for that title beyond Jade.
Yeah.
What do they envision Athena doing? And so to me, I say all this to say that Jade is the safe bet because Jade is what they've already built. They know how to do it. It's pretty much a template that they've got worked out. If somebody step up, Jade not take them seriously, tell Tony Schiavone to cut the shit a few times, and you have the big title match. So that's where I'm conflicted is, I know the plan for Jade if she loses in my mind. She just goes straight for Tony because she's been so dominant. But I don't know what their plan for Athena would be. I don't know if they would really care for her to have a plan and if she would just be middling and kind of adrift, with her biggest moment being the actual title win, nothing as the champion. So I'm really torn on this one, man, just for all those reasons. And I think because of that, I'm going to go the more conservative route. I'm going to say that Jade retains because I think AEW is very comfortable with her. They're kind of in a pocket with her where it's like, you know what? You're doing really good stuff in this zone. And we're just going to keep riding that until the wheels fall off because we've already said, too, that we feel like AEW has a similar problem to ROH where they pull the trigger way too late on shit. And I don't think that finger is itching enough to pull it at all out. So I'm going to go with Jade to retain, ultimately. Now, I'm curious what you were going to lock in since you're kind of split like I was.
I'm actually going to also lock in Jade Cargill to retain here. This is actually based on my own personal trauma, though, because I'll never forget a few months ago when AQA debuted for AEW against Jade Cargill. She actually hit her shooting star press and Jade kicked out of it. So Jade's kicking out of the O face here, I think.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that, man. 100%.
And it's going to fucking suck and I'm going to hate it and we're going to be pissy about it, but we're going to choke it down and deal with it anyway.
Well, we better because it's a 15-match card. We're going to be here a long time, brother.
Yeah, it is a 15-match card, which brings us to our next match, the AEW World Tag Team Championship Swerve in Our Glory versus The Acclaimed.
I just feel like Swerve and Glory have to win here. I love the Acclaim to death, but like, look at the champions. But I will say this though, because I've kind of like playing devil's advocate for some of this undercard. If the Acclaimed win, they'll probably spin it where it's like, oh, we had a tag team veteran and Billy Gunn in our corner, and he gave us the advice, and his own sons are going to be jealous because now that they're with Stokely, so it's like, oh, you never helped us win the tag titles, and then that would be the immediate feud is Gun Club, unless they want to call themselves something different to disassociate from their father, versus the Acclaimed for the tag titles. But I'm just going to be honest, even though that's like poking in my brain as a possibility, I hate it. I love the Acclaimed. I want them to be tag team champions someday, but you have to treat Keith and Swerve with the proper respect because these guys should be singles competitors. They should be going after the TNT and world titles respectively. And I wouldn't even mind swapping them out. After Keith gets on his world title journey and Swerve gets on his TNT journey, then you just kind of flip and you have Swerve go after the world title and Keith go after TNT. But yeah, I just see that in both guys. But because I see that in both guys, I want the titles they have now to be treated with the gravity and the dignity that they deserve. So I just don't see the Acclaimed as they are right now being capable of beating these champions. So again, I'm going to go the more conservative route as I did with the TBS match. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to say Swerve and Glory retains.
Yeah. This is a weird one, mostly because it just seems like Tony Khan cares more about the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys and their feud and that whole story with them than he cares about Swerve and Our Glory.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on that. I think your sense is spot on here.
Like, it's gross and it makes no sense, but it certainly does seem like Tony Khan is very much enjoying everything that the Ass Boys are doing and continues to feature them, which he also is obviously a fan of the Acclaimed because he's been featuring them as well quite consistently. And he also holds the Acclaimed up as like one of the pillars of him being right because he was pushing them a couple years ago and people were like, boo, these guys are like, I think the whole complaint was about Caster's raps being insensitive and mean, and they were at the time, but now they've gotten much more lighthearted and funny. And Tony just tweeted recently about how, like, oh, you guys might not like the Trustbusters now, but nobody liked the Acclaimed 2 years ago when I was featuring them on TV either. I'm right.
Yeah.
God, I hate it. I really do. I've literally always hated Tony Khan because he's a fucking billionaire and fuck billionaires all the way to hell. But I'm starting to really hate his booking style now too.
Yeah. All right. So I guess both.
I'm gonna just lock in Swerve and Our Glory to retain, but it's tentative. It is tentative for sure. I'm worried about that, man. I'm worried about that. But finally, let's get to our main event. I don't think I've skipped anything. Our main event: Jon Moxley versus CM Punk for the proper AEW World Championship. No more of that interim shit. Leave that to the women on this show.
Yeah. God, that's so bad, even with context. AEW really be that dismissive.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I really didn't want this match, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna level with everybody. Like, if we're laying all our cards on the table, you certainly did a little bit ago, just being like, I'm really starting to hate Tony Khan's booking as well. I didn't want to see this again. I laughed when Mox squashed him. And then you do the whole thing with the coach and all, like, we're Chicago. Fuck you. You're one city. Simmer down. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's a lot. But I am just gonna say, I feel like Punk wins here. I feel like he has to win almost after that promo he had on Dynamite. But I've been loving Moxley as champion. I think like this is the best work that he's done. Yes, I absolutely understand like the bleeding in every match, why that would annoy people, put people off. But I think everything else he does is so good, it doesn't even really bother me. Yeah. He's been one of my favorite world champions across companies like in a long time. And that's a big compliment because I have not been hating on Roman at all. Like, show me the fucking tape where I'm shitting all over Roman's title reign. I have been all about the Tribal Chief for this 2-year run, but Moxley just, he brings me back to those champions I always respected as a kid. Just the gritty, in your fucking face, passionate as shit. I'll fight you with my last drop of blood to keep this type of champion. And I live for it. I really do. In an age where I feel like I'm growing increasingly cynical about pro wrestling or increasingly detached from it, sans Stardom, because Stardom just, I don't know, it has my hookup, and it has for the whole time we've been watching it. Moxley does capture that little bit of lightning in a bottle for me personally. He really does. I'm also just going to put my cards on the table. I don't think this is going to happen, but we've talked about pretty much everything on this preview. Again, I am hoping that MJF comes back here, but I don't think he will. I think everybody expects him to be back, and that's exactly why he won't be back, because they want to keep hitting people in the nuts, and then, you know, when he does come back, it'll surprise people. And I do think he'll be back. I don't think he's done. I've been consistent on that line for a while. But focusing on the match, I think Punk fucking wins. And the only thing that'll redeem it to me, and I've been saying it, is that you just do the fucking heel turn shortly after, unless he wins in a heelish way, and then you just piggyback off that. But Chicago won't care because it's Punk, and they're going to cheer him. But yeah, Punk wins, and it's frustrating because I've been loving Moxley and just Moxley's whole story. I've said that too. I think the man getting clean, I think the man getting healthy, and doing all this, like, that's the wrestling culture I want. I don't want guys getting rewarded when they're abusing fucking pills and alcohol just so that they can function. I want the guys that get rewarded where it's like, hey, man, or woman, you know, whatever, you're not okay. Go get your mind right. They get their mind right. They're doing the best work they've ever done, and then they get rewarded. That's true meritocracy right there. None of this fucking bullshit of, oh, go work on one fucking leg, and maybe I'll think about giving you a world title push. Fuck off with that shit. So, yeah, I have a lot of feelings about this, a lot of them visceral and negative. But Punk is, I just think, going to win the championship, and it's just going to be like... So...
Yeah.
There you go.
Honestly,
what would you like to add?
I think I agree with you completely on this. Did we disagreed about very little on this card? I know we did disagree about a couple things. Like, I know we disagreed about the tag match. Wait, which one? Did we did we disagree at all on this card actually? Oh
We
yeah,
only
yeah, yeah.
disagreed on the
trios
remember.
match. The trios match. Is that the only thing we disagreed
But that's
on?
like unprecedented, dude. Like on a 15-match fucking card. Like, that's amazing that was our only disagreement. And honestly, I could even see your points on that. So it wasn't even like a visceral, like, how could you think that, Ashton? Like, no, I totally get where you're coming from.
Wow. Fuck. I feel like we're probably going to be wrong about a lot of this because anytime we have a lot of like consensus agreements, we end up being wrong about a lot of them. But yeah, I'm just going to agree with you, man. I agree. I think that Punk's going to get the title back. Honestly, there's also a part of me that feels like if Moxley were to keep the title, where would he even go from here? Like, who would he defend against?
Casino ladder match winner, and I would love for that to be a part of a bigger program if it was Andrade, but since you are picking Punk, then that also means, to circle back, that you are locking in Claudio to win the ladder match.
Yep. Truthfully, if I had to rank my casino ladder match winner, like, most likely, I would put Claudio at 1 regardless. Like, if I had to be completely agnostic to the world title, I would put Claudio at 1 as far as the most likely to win that, and Andrade at 2, and then I think probably the actually I'd put Claudio at 1. I'd put the Joker at 2, and then Andrade at 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, I think. God, low key, I hate to even put this out there, but part of me kind of wants to skip the main event of this show like we did for Stardom X Stardom.
I feel like, though, we almost have to watch it, dude, because unlike Stardom X Stardom, where it seemed like a foregone conclusion that Shuri was winning.
That's true.
It does feel like a foregone conclusion that Punk is winning, but is there going to be any narrative fallout, and are they going to surprise us and have Moxley retain again? I don't know. Yeah. I feel like there's more ambiguity here than Shuri Nane.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, there we go.
Yeah. All right.
I'm actually lower. I think I'm down to like a 7 for my hype level after this discussion.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, kind of looking at the underbelly of AEW, what did I say? I said 8.5, I think.
No, you actually settled in on 8.
Go...
We agreed on 8, I think.
I settled in on 8. I think I'll join you on that 7, honestly, because like I'm really not caring for the main event situation if it's going to go to Punk. There's no guarantee Andrade is going to win the ladder match, depending on who the Joker is. I really do think it all comes down to the Joker, because if the Joker's kind of meh, I think Andrade is the standout in that field personally. Well, him and Claudio, but
dude, this is gonna be
yeah,
fucked. I'm
yeah.
starting to feel a little burned out on AEW. I think.
I'm with you, man, because I've already kind of soured on Rampage, as you know. Like Rampage, I've been over, and like the last few Dynamites, eh. So like, yeah, I mean, again, dude, that's why I even kind of like threw in there why I think Moxley is so special, because like I'm really just getting at that point where most of wrestling, like I'm just checked out. I'm not the guy I used to be when it comes to pro wrestling. That's why Stardom is so fucking magical, because this group of like fucking amazing women just are like really doing the best wrestling you'll ever see, in my opinion. Now, obviously, there are some diehard AEW fans, and I'm genuinely happy for them. Maybe if I was a kid, I'd be in love with AEW, because I feel like as a kid, I loved all types of wrestling. I just wanted to get my hands on it. But as somebody that's older and has become far more, I know discriminatory and prejudicial never sound good in any context, but yeah, more prejudicial about what he likes and what he doesn't like. Yeah, it's like AEW's hit or miss for me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel
Definitely.
a little bit of like burnout. Like I feel like the shows, especially Rampage, has been just awful lately. Dynamite has been feeling more and more mid lately. The storylines aren't clicking with me. The wrestlers that I really like aren't getting featured, and the wrestlers who are getting featured are guys or women that I don't care for. It's just starting to feel like a lot of effort to watch a product that I'm supposed to be able to just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely resonate with you. Like I'm never gonna like push back on that, because again, dude, like as well, I know there are things when it comes to wrestling like that we'd rather be doing, and I think that
Yeah.
almost compounds it, right? Because it's like you're there and you're watching it and you're like, man, I could be doing insert thing here instead, and I think it almost makes you even more resentful. I know it does me. I mean, I won't even try and act like I'm not projecting. I
Yeah.
absolutely am. So when I'm watching shitty wrestling, my
God.
mind is like fucking elsewhere.
It's incredible how
Yeah.
full circle things have come, though, because if you think about it, we're not that far removed. Like, it's less than a year ago that we made that whole commentary about, like, fuck WWE, we're done covering their bullshit except for these major pay per views. And now it's like, I'm almost tempted to be like, hey, maybe we should check out Extreme Rules. Because Clash of the Castle today was really fucking fun. I loved that show.
Yeah, that was good. That was definitely good for sure.
Yeah, I
Um,
enjoyed the hell out of Clash at the Castle
yeah,
today. I actually recommended it to Abel. I told Abel the entire show, except for the finish of the main event, was great.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like the only awkward thing about the main event again was just singing with Tyson Fury, Drew afterwards. But I enjoyed the match. Hell, like I can't even be mad that they backed Roman, because like they wanted to get the heat. I'm actually amazed Garbage didn't fill the ring. I really expected that from the Cardiff crowd. But you heard my reaction. You guys can all go back and watch it. I did what I said I was gonna do. I laughed my ass off when it happened, because I really thought they would, and it wasn't even like a bitter laugh. It was like, wow, they know that Roman is just, he's in his era right now, and I can't even be mad. Dude, did you see his press conference clip
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
where
did
he just shows
after?
up and
That
says,
was fucking, yeah.
acknowledge me and walks off. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, but then like under his breath, he's like, when the reporter's just like, I acknowledge you, he's like, goddamn right you do. And I love that. I love it. It's just
I
so
actually
good.
didn't hear that. That's
So yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, he said under this, like, goddamn right you do. And I just took his belt and he left. I'm like, yes, yes. Everybody going to the Kevin Kelly school of emotionally devastating delivery. I love it. Oh God. But yeah, Clash at the Castle was fun, man. Yeah. But all and another thing too, not to keep dumping on AEW, but I have to go back to this again, especially because we're going to cover at least part of the 0 hour pre-show. The runtime, the fucking run. Like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just old now.
No, I mean,
I always
listen,
joke with people. I'm
if
30
you're old, I'm
going on
old. Because
80.
I'm even older than you, and I
Yeah.
get fatigued just as quickly as you do with this shit. Dude, this feels like one of those shows where we're gonna react to the pre-show and we're gonna regret it because like 45 minutes into the main show we're gonna be like, oh my god, there's still 2 hours left of this or 3 hours left of this or whatever. I just feel like this show is going to wear us the fuck out. Honestly, I really do.
Because, like, here's the thing. I'm just going to be honest. Really looking at this card, it's a solid card. I'm not about to, like, chew out anybody or whatever. But you can't tell me that a lot of these cards wouldn't just make for a fantastic Dynamite instead.
Dude,
And then you have a
right?
solid
I
core
was thinking the
five-match card.
exact, like, to me, you could literally trim this card by at least 3 matches easily. You could have so easily had Danielson versus Jericho main event of Dynamite. Hell, you could have had Cargill Athena main event a fucking Rampage.
Yeah, dude. Remember smaller match cards on pay? Those were the fucking days, man. Because I'm looking at this card and I'm like, why not just do the ladder match and the main championships as your pay-per-view card?
Yeah,
like that would be a solid pay-per-view card.
100%.
Like
match, to me,
women's.
The minimum that you would want this card to be is the women's 4-way for the interim championship, the casino ladder match, the trios title tournament finals, the tag title match, and the world title match. That's 5 matches. You don't need more than that. You really don't. You don't need Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs to be on the pay-per-view. You don't need Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage to be on the pay-per-view. As much as I've enjoyed Jade Cargill as champion and Athena in general, Athena, it really, as much as I love her, and again, this match has been technically being built to since before Athena even signed with the company because of Twitter. But Athena doesn't even feel like a main event level challenger for Jade. They have done nothing to make Athena feel credible in that way. So there's no reason that has to be on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You don't need Danielson Jericho on a pay-per-view. You don't need House of Black versus Darby, Sting, and Miro on a pay-per-view. It's not even like a situation where, oh, Sting only works pay-per-views. We've literally seen him work matches on TV.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You don't need Wardlow and FTR versus Motor City Machine Guns and Jay Lethal on a pay-per-view. That's a Rampage main event to me. That would be a really good main event to a Rampage one week.
Yeah, I agree completely. Again, looking at this card, I'm not trying to hate, but when you really look at it,
I feel like they're almost putting too much stock into pay-per-views because they're robbing their TV shows of some of these matches that would have made their TV shows better in order to buff up the pay-per-view, which people don't want to be this big in the first place.
Like, and that's the thing, because I know, like, passionate AEW fans like Craig, because they've said this to me before, and this is not a call out Craig. Craig's wonderful, but, you know, he said that, like, oh, well, you know, they have so few pay-per-views a year, of course they're going to be stacked. But I'm like, why though? Like, I guess to me, I still challenge that logic because I'm like, why can't a wrestling company still do those few pay-per-views, but just have really high caliber matches come out to like smaller but really meaningful match cards?
Yeah,
it's
dude.
Like,
to me,
oh,
you know what they could have done here? They could have had just Ishii, Kingston, and Pac Sabian on the pre-show, and then they could have had the 5 matches that I mentioned on the main show, and we could have been out of here by 10:30, 11 o'clock easily.
Dude, and let me tell you something else. If it would have been those 5 matches that you picked, I think my hype would have been a strong, like, 8.5, maybe even 9, because these matches matter. Like, you really feel the gravity of these matches. And it's like, man, you know, nobody does those smaller match cards anymore. And again, now I'm really sounding like a boomer because it's like, remember the days? But no, like,
back in my day, we had 5 match cards, damn it.
What is with this 12? Are you sure they're not giving out participation trophy? And it's like, yeah, no, look. But no, like, I feel like smaller match cards, it's like, yeah, it just makes the pay-per-view more meaningful. Like, I remember as a kid when they would do that, and it's like, oh, man, really sucks that I have to miss it. Like, I want those shows that used to make me turn on the fucking pay-per-view channel at my house that was all, like, staticky and, like, not ordered. Yeah. But I would just kill to get a little breakthrough of commentary, like, oh, Kane wins or whatever, and I feel like I was a part of it. You know, cards don't feel like that. I'm just like, God damn. But yeah, I'm done ranting and being a boomer. I think what you said about AEW and like kind of your burnout really resonated deeply with me. Not just about AEW, but about a lot of pro wrestling at present.
And that's my thing, right? Is like wrestling. I think, dude, that's the secret weapon that makes Stardom so good. Stardom is so fucking good because most of their matches are on the shorter side. Their undercard matches are almost never longer than like 12 minutes long. They have time limits that they implement that prevent certain matches from being longer than 10 or 15 minutes. Hell, the current tournament going on, the 5-Star Grand Prix, every match has a 15-minute time limit. Main events tend to have 30-minute time limits unless there's some kind of a special stipulation about it. Like, Stardom's secret sauce that makes it so special is its fucking brevity.
Yes, yes, dude. I am telling you, Stardom would be the perfect promotion if they just updated their streaming infrastructure and they worked out their pay per view model. You know, $60 a pop for like what, 2 pay-per-views a week. Sometimes it seems.
Yeah.
If they could just rein all that in and get a modern streaming infrastructure and restructure their revenue scheme, they'd be the perfect wrestling promotion. Like top to bottom to me.
Yep. If
So they do have a
basically,
few kinks in the
if they
armor, no
had the
doubt about it.
TJPW business model, they'd be the perfect wrestling promotion. Because Wrestle Universe is
Yeah.
so much better and so much more intuitive than Stardom World, and they live stream their shows to it. Like, if Stardom had TJPW's business model, they would be the best promotion in the world. I mean, they already are, but they would be the perfect wrestling promotion.
They'd be untouchable. Like, I already crow about them enough. If they did that shit, I
Yeah.
would never
Yep.
shut the fuck up. You would have to rein me in and be like, John, why are you plugging them right
We
now?
would
We're talking
become
about WWE. It's like,
Stardom
no,
evangelicals
perfect.
the way that we were for Lucha Underground.
Absolutely. 1,000%. 1,000%. Like, but it's a real testament to this company when their biggest issues are structural issues, which aren't to be ignored for sure. But like the product is so good. It's like, no, you know what? I was gonna make a morbid joke, but you know what? Let's get the fuck out of here. I'm ready to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we've
But
been here
yeah.
for over an hour. We've been here for over an hour. It's time to go.
Yeah, I got stuff to do before I'm able to reconvene with you and do our games and shit. So the sooner we get out of here, the sooner I can do all that.
All right.
So thank you guys for joining us. Leave a like if you file out, subscribe, put the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of that 12 goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And yeah, guys, I mean, we've been talking all about it. Join us for AEW All Out coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern time. 15-match card, baby. To take a deep fucking seat. Your life belongs to AEW for the next like 5.5 hours. Yeah, I know, horsey, me too. So yeah, join us for that card. It should be existing. That's the word I'll use. It's safe and neutral. All right, so yeah, that's 7 p.m. We'll see you guys then, and I'm gonna hand it over to Ash and take us home.
I'm down to a 6.5, by the way. All right, everyone.
God damn.
We hope that you're all looking forward to our live reactions to All Out tomorrow, and of course, remember to stay tuned.